Boris Nemtsov was a very special human being. He had a tremendous love for the Russian people. He loved his people to such a degree that he was willing to speak out in their interest, knowing full well that it may lead to his assassination. He was an interesting man. I first met him a decade ago, and it was by happenstance. He ended up my seatmate during the inauguration of Yushchenko in the Verkhovna Rada. So we had the opportunity to chat, and as you've seen a lot of photographs of him or interviews, he really had this natural sort of twinkle in his eye, had quite a wry wit. Also saw him during the celebrations later in that day. He had a joie de vivre. He loved life. But that lightness of bearing that he had, underneath it, there was a steely resolve, which you don't necessarily often find in someone who seems to be a bon vivant. And it was a resolve to change the future course of Russian history to benefit the people of Russia. He hated what Putin had transformed Russia into, a country that was ultra-chauvinistic, neo-imperialistic, was dividing people internally, zombifying the population with relentless propaganda, and he spoke out against it. He couldn't stand the fact that Russians were not at peace with each other, and under Putin were at war with their neighbors. He envisioned a very different Russia, a Russia where people were at peace with each other, where there was dignity and respect for every Russian citizen, and every Russian citizen had equal opportunities to live in peace and prosperity. He knew that speaking out, and he would speak out harshly against Putin, could lead to his demise. And let's call this by its proper name. This was a political assassination, a well-organized wet job by the Kremlin. He had to die because Putin feared him. And people point out, well, look at Putin, 85% of the polls, and Nemtsov barely registered in the single digits. No, Putin saw what's coming, and they understood in the Kremlin what's happening. By the fall, Russia will be in economic dire straits. And when it starts hitting the average Russian in the pocketbook, the stage will be set for a potential Moscow Maidan. And if that happened, someone like Borys Nemtsov, his character, his track record, he was never corrupted, even under Yeltsin, and his eloquence and natural magnetism would have most likely made him the leader of a Maidan. A Maidan would have coalesced. So it was a preemptive move.